you're essentially diagnosing the culture of the company that you see, and you say we need to change this culture. It's not healthy. It's not where it needs to be. How long did that take for you to change?
It really took decades. It truly did. It was so ingrained into the culture of the business, this iron fist mentality, that it took a long time. I had to start gaining control over certain parts of the business before I could start, getting those changes, made. And I'm going to say it was probably in around the late 80s where, I kind of had an epiphany. I had this manager, a quality manager that was like, he was a relentless guy. He would come to me multiple times a day. This is a problem. That's a problem. We have a problem here. And he was just relentless. He never quit. This went on for months. And finally, one day I said to him, enough. He's coming to my office. I closed the door. I said to him, you know what? Don't you ever, ever bring me another problem. Ever. You bring me solutions, never problems. If I have to solve your problems, I don't need you. And it was a magical day because that was the day I realized that I was just a manager and I was just solving everyone's problems for them. And I knew that I needed to create a organization of people who were learners, who were doers, who were actors. And it was magical because after that day, people started coming to me with solutions to problems. I made it my new motto: bring me solutions, never problems. And people started doing it. And they'd come to me and we would sit down and we would chat. And maybe we'd go with their solution, maybe we wouldn't. But at least now we're working together. And at least now he's thinking. And they're all thinking. And they're all looking for ways then to improve. That's part of it. And the other part of it is you got to get the naysayers out of your organization. The people that do things um, that are counterproductive to what you're trying to do. We talk about the three deadly sins in the book, and the three deadly sins were really part of this that we had to overcome. And the first one is the stealing of ideas. When a manager or a supervisor steals an idea from one of their reports, the destruction that creates is so profound and it goes on for so long. I don't know that you can actually calculate it. It's insane. I had it happen to me. I've had it happen to me many times over my career in the early days, where you would come up with an idea, and the next thing you know, the manager owns it. When people that steal those ideas do those things, they rob the employee of the joy of being a contributing member of your family, of the family that you're working with. They rob the company of intellectual capital. They rob the customer. They rob everybody. And so I learned long ago that those kind of people had to go. And so we started on actively rooting them out. And I mean, I've fired people on the spot. And so have others in my leadership team for doing just exactly that, because they might be good, but it doesn't matter the value that you perceive they bring you. If they're going to continue to undermine what you are trying to cultivate, they're just going to lead to a toxic environment, and you'll lose good people as a result of them. So
Mhm.
that's one of the sins that has to be overcome. If
And
you
the
want to hear the
second
other
one?
two, I'm happy
Yeah,
to
yeah,
share
yeah.
them.
That was my next question. So, what's the other two?
Well, the next one is perfectionism. I've worked with many perfectionists over my career, and in my experience, they are very inflexible. It's so difficult to move a new project or a new initiative forward with a perfectionist, or even to accept somebody else's idea. Because if it's not their idea, it's not perfect, and therefore there's no sense moving forward on it.
Mm.
I've watched those environments, and I've seen people keep their thumb on each and every tiny detail of what goes on underneath them. None of the people that work around them grow because nobody's allowed to make a decision.
Mm.
And you almost can't move an initiative forward. The only way that you can move an initiative forward, in my experience with the perfectionist, is to plant a seed. Plant the seed, back away, wait, see if it blossoms. If it doesn't take root, come back and try in a different way, and then wait. So it hampers growth. It hampers creative thinking. It hampers critical thinking. uh, it's just not a good thing. And then the third one is failure to execute. You know, there's a lot of people that have great plans and they don't execute them. And that could be, I've seen it in the past as a result of perfectionism. You know, they have to wait until the plan is perfect or they don't move forward because heaven forbid they fail. And even worse, heaven forbid anybody witness them fail. So there's that reason why plans and initiatives don't get moved forward in several organizations. But another one that's a huge factor is that if a person is working in an organization that punishes mistakes, there's no incentive. There's no incentive to take a risk. And so you have to create an environment that mistakes are not punishable offenses. Rather, they're learning opportunities. We make mistakes all the time because we're constantly looking for new ways to do things. And nobody gets punished. Nobody says, hey, you made a mistake. No, quite on the contrary, people dive in and what can we learn from this mistake? How are we going to refine our path so that we can move forward and push the initiative along? And that goes to leadership. That's what I was talking to you about earlier. You know, the people that can, impassion and empower others to go along the journey with them. But by all means, keep that ball moving forward. And those are the three deadly sins.